Hi everyone, it's Ren here. It's very good to see you guys. Today I want to talk to you about a character in literature which I consider to be the best and greatest character that has ever been created as a representation of an INFJ type. And before I embark on this journey with you, I just want to remind you that I have written a book. You can see it here, The Ecstatic Soul, a new look at the INFJ personality. It's available. If you haven't got a copy of it yet, I recommend you do, because it's the most in-depth study of the INFJ ever conducted. It's available in ebook and paperback format. Links below in the description box. All the links to all the countries in Amazon are provided. Supports me, you increase and deepen your knowledge. Both sides win. Okay, so now let's talk about this character. I will reveal the mystery of his name to start with, and then I'll be going in a bit more detail as to why I consider this character to be the greatest INFJ ever created. His name is Prince Mishkin, Mishkin for short, and he is a character in the novel by Fyodor Dostoevsky, The Idiot. The novel is called The Idiot. And in fact, there's a reason why this novel is called The Idiot, which I will clarify very shortly. But to start with, let me just give you a few clues as to what this Dostoevsky novel is. First of all, I say there will be people among you who have read this novel. And so if that's the case, I would obviously be very curious to hear whether you agree that Mishkin is a fantastic fictional creation of an INFJ personality. But for those who have not read the novel by Dostoevsky, it is a long book in the pure tradition of Dostoevsky novel, great Russian classics. You know, if you start the book, just be aware that it's about anywhere between 600 and 900 pages. It's an investment, it's an involvement, but it's an unforgettable experience that I really, really recommend that you dig in, not just because it offers the promise of engaging with a genuine INFJ character, but also because it's just a fantastic novel. I will not spoil the details of the novel in this video, but I just want to specify that Mishkin is one of the characters in the novel, and it takes place, you know, at a time where there was still a Russian aristocracy, so prior to the communist revolution, of course. And it's a novel that takes place, you know, in the big city of St. Petersburg, which is often the focus of the Dostoevsky novels. And in it, Prince Mishkin is a character that is seen as a simpleton by a lot of people. And there's many possible interpretations of the title of the novel, The Idiot. But one interpretation that immediately suggests itself is that Mishkin is seen, and indeed comes across, as a bit of a naive simpleton, as an idiot, in other words. But what's fascinating from the point of view of Mishkin's personality and psychology, particularly if we accept from the start that he's an INFJ, written by Dostoevsky himself, who was an INFJ, the question becomes, why did Dostoevsky portray Mishkin as such, and why is he not only a hero in the novel, but one of the most memorable protagonists and heroes in any novel? It's because he's so unconventional. And why is he unconventional? Because he is so influential in the course of the novel, in a way that the other people in the novel, with a few exceptions, usually the more intuitive kinds of characters, most characters don't notice that. They make fun of him. I mean, it's true that some characters feel very drawn to him. They can't explain why, but they never really let go of this perception they have of him as this naive, very open kind of guy who doesn't seem to realize that sometimes he's being nice to people that clearly are making fun of him, are being mean to him, or even want him to suffer. And yet Mishkin never deviates from his approach to them and from his personality, from the stance he takes towards other people and the world. And no matter if people start seeing him as this deluded, naive kind of guy who is, because of these delusions, because of this lack of realism, is unable to effect concrete change. The thing is, in the novel, as the novel and the plot progresses, it becomes very clear that everything is influenced by what Mishkin does, and that he impacts the lives of the other characters in ways that they do not anticipate, and often in ways that they do not even realize are impacted by him. in such a way that he's by far the most influential character on how the novel progresses until the very end, which is an end that I will not spoil for you, but it's a complicated end for a complicated protagonist and for complicated characters that he interacts with, especially the characters that he considers to be particularly memorable from his own perspective. The question is, why is he seen as an idiot, and why is that actually a symptom of his strength and power as an INFJ character? Because Mishkin is an NI-dominant, as any INFJ person would be, but there's a difference between Mishkin and a lot of INFJ people in the real world, and I'm not accepting myself, I'm not designating myself as an exception from that category, okay? And quite simply, Mishkin is a character that, although he is always faced with the pressure of conforming with other people who are often annoyed and impatient with the somewhat uncertain and not always well-formed and cryptic nature of his NI intuitions that are very powerful, and he has at different junctures throughout the novel, he has a lot of experiences of this, what's going to happen in the future. He's anticipating these events. He knows something is going to happen, but he experienced that power of what's going to happen physically. And you can really see here an anticipation of what Jung will call the archaic contents informing the process of intuition. There's a clear sense in which the archaic contents in the unconscious that Mishkin possesses connect to something in his intuition, and he's able to yield an output, something that comes out and that reflects this conflict and this anticipation of things to come, but he's not necessarily able to express that well to other people, and they make fun of him for that. And the thing is, he does not resent it. He does not fall into two modes of unhealthy INFJ existential behavior, which in this particular book, particularly in chapters 2 and 3, I call the evasive INFJ and the dismissive INFJ. So to just summarize these concepts very quickly, the evasive INFJ is an INFJ who's not willing to put up with other people's reactions to the uncertain and fluid nature of his insights or her insights that will conflict with other people's expectation that certainty be given them. And so they will evade, they will be in an evasive mode where they will focus on their FE function by being supportive to other people, by being friendly with other people, by having fun with other people. In the process, they're relinquishing what makes them INFJ in the most sort of crucial sense. So it's a relinquishing of their innermost nature. So that's the evasive INFJ. And the dismissive INFJ is the one who, it's almost like a type 6 INFJ in the counterphobic sense. It's like an INFJ who seems to be open to conversation about his insights, but as soon as he's presented with what looks like critique, he gets very defensive and dismisses other people and rejects them as not understanding his insights, and therefore becomes more and more secluded as a result. And Mishkin is neither evasive nor is he dismissive. He is completely open from start to finish. If there are people who criticize him, if there are people who make fun of him, his aim is never to lose himself in the mass in an evasive mode, to not suffer from this criticism, from what the tribe is saying, but he's also not being mean to them, he's not dismissing them, he's not, castigating everybody for not understanding him. He accepts that this is part and parcel of the process, and further and further as the novel progresses, he incorporates all of the characters into his vision in ways they don't even realize themselves. And this is how the novel progresses, the plot progresses, and he's able to get to a stage where he clearly is the character with the agency to effect change more than anyone else, and it just has become obvious. And at no point has he exerted outward coercion or pressure on the other characters, and he's also not tried to escape from the necessary critiques that will happen from other people when you're an anti-dominant character. And in this sense, Mishkin is a very healthy representation, because he's fictional, of a very healthy INFJ type who is also incredibly moving, incredibly open from the start to the end. And in ways, and I will leave that up to your judgments, also in ways that suggest that the limitations of the INFJ character, because if you're always steeped in your NI, if you're always steeped in this openness, you're always going to confront limitations that are linked to the makeup of your particular consciousness. And I think Dostoevsky does an unbelievable job, a genius job, of representing all the beauties and the paradoxes and the challenges facing the authentic INFJ personality willing to take up the challenge of being an INFJ person, with all the possibilities and the potential great achievements that are implicit therein. So I hope I've made you feel like reading The Idiot. I will provide a link with more details about the novel and about the character of Mishkin. And like I said, I really encourage you, if you want to see the best example of an INFJ, in my opinion, in fiction, but let's restrict this to literature. But I think in fiction in general, if you want to experience that for yourself, you will have to read The Idiot. Let me know what you think in the comments. Consider giving me a like and also subscribing. And I will talk to you very soon, guys. Bye-bye.